Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I decided to do another video because today is 12/12, so happy 12/12 Portal Day. Today is a very special day, and the reason why is because it's not such a big event. It's more of a synchronization point. This is a very special time because, as we know, the new world is beginning. It's starting to take form. We spent the last 20 something years, 30 years preparing for this, and and the earth is transitioning. For some of us, we're transitioning into 5D and into that new world. And so this and for but for the collective of us, this is a very special day because this allows us the convergence where personal timelines within ourselves, collective timelines, and even subconscious patterning start to appear to ourselves. So if many of you have already been kind of in that mode of seeing things, seeing old patterns, seeing old loops that we've kind of been running into, the same old things, then this is why this is happening, because this is a very special time for us to be able to see our patterns, see our personal timelines, and see the loops that we have been creating throughout our karmic bonds. And this is not a time for us to create at all. So if you're in the mode where you're trying to create things, this is not really that type of energy. What's going to happen is you're going to find that your creativeness isn't really going to take form. It's going to kind of fizzle out. It's really going to kind of feel stuck. And the stuff that you're creating is not going to really come to true form. So what is going to come to true form is everything that is introspective and reflective. Anything that you can see within yourself, old patterns, especially the subconscious. I know I've been having a lot of trials and things going on, and when I sleep, even old patterns, old loops, things that I've needed to clean up, even with my friends and my roommates. There's old patterns that they're working on, and things that are coming up, and this is a very special time for that. This is when compression of all those old loops and all those old patterns start to become into clarity. So as we know, we're in December, the 12th month, and today's the 12th. This 12th cycle carries the end of completion. And that's why it's not a good time to create. It's a good time to end things. And you're going to notice that because there's all this sudden emotional honesty coming up. You can't lie to yourself right now. If you're truly working on yourself, you can't lie to yourself. If you're not working on yourself, then a lot of times you're probably not really seeing this. You're probably still thinking that you're working on yourself and you're achieving success and you're achieving all these things, and you're kind of going after the same old patterns. But for those of us that are truly working on ourselves, this is a moment of brutal honesty. It's a true moment of reflection. Old memories are going to be reappearing. I know even in my meditation, I've seen a lot of old memories of things that happened back in the 90s that I was like, oh, you know what? I got to go back to that time and apologize and forgive and understand and reflect on who I was at that time and who those people were at that time and what lessons they were bringing into me, because that old karmic loop ties into today. Because remember, this is about completion. So you have to be, if you're moving into the new world, you have to complete these old loops. You have to be able to end those cycles, end those karmic bonds. And this is why so many old memories, so much emotional honesty, and even sometimes you may be crying what you think for no reason. But it all comes with clarity. And in those moments of clarity, you're going to sometimes feel like it's not too comfortable. It's not going to be like those aha moments where you're like, oh my God, I get it. I understand. I can let it go. It's going to be sometimes uncomfortable because you're going to see things in ways that you may have not seen them before. But this is very special, and this is very much needed because, again, this isn't about release. It's about recognition, and I really want you guys to understand that. The ego always wants to create an illusion, and this point of today is going to show us the ego's illusion of weakness and how we have these false senses of personal authority and these false senses of personal achievement. And so for many of us, 12/12 is one of those ideas where our ego becomes right in front of our face. It becomes enlarged, and it's shown to us because this will help us dissolve what it is we're holding back or what it is we're not noticing. A lot of people are going to be noticed. One of the things that we're going to be seeing is, and this is a good way for us to know if we're working on ourselves or not, because if we say these few things, if we say stuff like, well, I didn't choose this pattern, this chose me. I keep and I keep reacting in the same way, and I don't get it. I don't get why the universe is doing this to me. If those things are coming out of your mouth, that is because you're repeating the same loop. And so I want you guys to pay attention to those phrases, because if you say, like, again, if you say something like, well, I didn't choose this pattern, it chose me. Well, then that's the ego saying, well, I'm not taking responsibility for this because I still see myself as the victim. If you keep reacting the same way to situations that are all similar, well, then that's still the ego. That's the illusion of the ego still holding its grasp on you. And if your personality is still repeating, if you're not changing, if you're not growing, if you're still stressing out about work and business, if you're still always trying to show off that you're the social media network star and all these different ideas, and you're the Mr. and Mrs. Spirituality, then what's happening is this personality is on repeat by the ego. And this must be seen. So this is where it's a great time to take a step back and take a look at, and I always use this example because I want you guys to understand that our Facebook and our social media really shows us, for the most part, who we are. Most people do try to build a facade, but even in that, if you're looking at yourself, you can see how much of a facade or how much of an image you're trying to build. Are you being truthful? Are you chasing? Are you one of those spiritual people that are always posting how great you are and how many achievements you are and how many reviews, how many great reviews your business is getting and all that? Well, then we know that we're not helping people. We're coming from ego. We're trying to help ourselves, and we're trying to make ourselves feel better. And it may look to others like we're being successful and we're doing great things for the world, but this is where the lies of the ego and the illusions that it's created have to come to our face. So the timelines have to become visible, and this is why this is such an important time, is because our personal and collective timelines have to be seen. If our world and humanity is going to transition into the new world, then they have to be seen by us, because that's the only way that we're going to acknowledge and have any self-growth and that's what consciousness is, right? Consciousness is awareness. Awareness is what? Awareness is seeing ourselves for who we are, our patterns, our lessons, taking responsibility for ourselves, and letting go of the ego, letting go of our identities, our need to prove ourselves, our need to chase, and so many other things. And so again, it's not about choosing, it's about visibility. It's what you can sense. So if I say, well, if you're where you're headed, if nothing changes, that means, where are you headed if nothing changes? If I'm headed to the same places doing the same thing, then nothing's going to change. That means every time something happens, I'm going to need prayers. I'm going to stress out. I'm going to fall apart. I'm going to need a million likes on my Facebook page because I'm trying to feed the ego. I'm trying to feed the stuff that I refuse to look at. But where could you go if you lose those identities, if you loosen up on those identities and you loosen up on the chasing? Where could you go? And that's a wonderful possibility, because you know where you're headed if nothing changes. You're going to repeat the same loops, the same patterns, be stuck in the same third dimensional chaos and suffering. Whereas if you loosen those patterns and you recognize those patterns, there is an infinite possibility of where you can go. And that's such an amazing thing. And I really hope that you guys get that and understand that, because it is such a wonderful thing. I know the ego is going to fight you and say, well, I don't want to lose this, and I know who I am. But a lot of times we don't know who we are. Again, all this stuff that I've created, even these videos, I do because I'm just sharing what I've learned. If no one listens, if no one pays attention, none of that has any effect on my personal well-being or my collective self-awareness or anything. I'm doing this to share knowledge, and if people like it, great. If people don't, but I can walk away from all this tomorrow and be told just as happy, because you guys know I did the podcast for many years, and I had to walk away from it. I dissolved everything. I walked away from everything that I was ever attached to, and I became the happiest person in my life. life. And now I'm doing it from a different perspective. I'm doing it because I want to share, not because I need to share. And the want of it is like, okay, well, I just want to share what I have. If people want to learn, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. And that's what has to happen today going forward. We have to start recognizing ourselves, because the emotional rawness has to come without narrative. And what that means is your story has to change. That means the emotional stuff that you're chasing, like I said, in business or trying to be this spiritual person and constantly showing people how great your company is and how many reviews and how people love you and how many books you're selling, etc. And again, I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm just using that as an example. But that is a way of chasing. And so that because our emotional set says, well, I need people to recognize how good I'm doing for the world and for everybody else in order for me to feel important. And so that emotional rawness has to transition, because we're ending those loops, we're ending that stuff into without narrative. And a lot of times what happens is grief is going to come up without a reason. It's just, you're going to cry, you're going to feel upset, you're going to feel angry, you're going to feel all these different emotions. And then also in the same breath, or sometimes a few days later or a few moments later, you're going to feel peace without explanation. You're just going to be like, because you're no longer allowing the ego to create these illusions that keep you trapped in these patterns. And then you're going to also come with, and this happens to a lot of people, is that fatigue. The fatigue without burnout. You're going to be tired, but you're not going to feel burnt out, because you're no longer chasing. Your body's tired because now it's resting, and it's realizing, oh my God, I was just running a marathon without a break for so many years because I was chasing these ideas. And now you're going to feel tired, and you're going to need rest, and you're going to need that introspective, you're going to need that reflection. But what you're going to do is you're going to, oh, I apologize, I don't know why my alarm went off. But what you're going to do is you're not going to have that burnout. So, all right, guys, it's 12 minutes, way longer than I wanted to spend, but I really hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any more questions about any of the videos, especially this one, please email me, write me. I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. All right, guys, I got to go. Have a great day.